Hey everybody, my name is Tyler and today we are going to be doing a power scaling video, and I've been wanting to discuss this character for a while now. If you checked out the title and thumbnail, you would know that this character is Orochimaru and I'm going to be scaling him. Now Orochimaru is a character who I've always found interesting because of how strong and how much of an impact he had on the series. Now today we are going to be going over the power of Orochimaru and more specifically who he scales to in the verse. Now, I believe there's nothing else we really need to go over, so with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. Orochimaru, an immortal S-class ninja who is a force to be reckoned with. In his first appearance, we see Kakashi, a jonin who's able to take on people like Zabuza, completely freeze up and sweat against Orochimaru. In fact, he was so shook with the idea of fighting him, the only thing he could imagine happening was his head getting cut off. Now this would already be Jonin plus level Orochimaru in his first appearance. However, we're going to go back a little bit and discuss stuff before part 1 and before his first appearance. And just show that he's not just Jonin level, some weird lowball thingy. No, we're not like that. I'm going to prove why he's casually Kage level. So, let's go back a little bit. Orochimaru, he was once a member of the Akatsuki, a group of S-class ninja that were Jinchuriki level. This is confirmed in the data books, and logically they would have to be Jinchuriki level in order to take him out. And to give further proof on why he's actually Biju level at least bare minimum, is because Orochimaru is stated, even though this is off screen, he's killed Rasa, and Rasa is known for always subduing Shukaku. And fun fact, Orochimaru was actually a candidate for Hokage, but Minato actually was the one who became Hokage. But he was a candidate. Not to mention, we'll get into feats later where he actually fights Hokage and actually fights candidates of Hokage. Now there are two more versions we have to go over with Orochimaru in part 1 before we can move on to the Shippuden section. And so, we are going to be going over Orochimaru versus Hiruzen, and then we were going to be going over Orochimaru with the Reaper Death Seal hands. So to start off with Orochimaru against Hiruzen, a lot of people like to say that Orochimaru doesn't scale to Hiruzen in this fight because Hiruzen is holding back, which I would agree Hiruzen's holding back, but what if I told you Orochimaru was also holding back? Now, I would like to thank Seth, the programmer, for actually coming up with this. He said this in his Itachi video and actually briefly mentioned it. When Seth actually brought that up, I decided to actually start scripting this Orochimaru video. So you can actually say in a way Seth actually motivated me to make this video. So, credits to him, go subscribe to him, go watch his Itachi video. Anyways, back to the video. So you could actually argue Orochimaru was holding back against Hiruzen because you could actually tell that he still had feelings for his sensei. He basically stabbed himself in the hand so he can basically stop crying and get the emotion out so he could just try and kill Hiruzen, but he physically can't bring himself to do it. Also, he stopped himself from crying, and Hiruzen basically sees how Orochimaru isn't as bad as he thought, and then Orochimaru started playing it off as he basically is excited to kill Hiruzen. And you can actually add consistency to this via the fight. Because remember, Orochimaru barely was fighting with Hiruzen. You know who was mostly fighting Hiruzen? The first two Hokage. Basically, throughout most of the fight, he just used the first two Hokage to try and bring down Hiruzen. And another factor is Orochimaru wasn't even in his strongest form. Actually, he has two strong forms. The one form where he fought Sasuke, and he basically died because he was sick and shit. And the Hydra Snake form that got one-shotted by Itachi. So with these factoring in, you can say that Orochimaru was holding back against Hiruzen, and if you argue whether or not he was, Orochimaru would still scale relative to him. Hell, you can even argue more consistency by the fact that Hiruzen and Orochimaru were basically fighting over the soul, and basically Orochimaru's not trying to get his soul stolen, while Hiruzen's trying to steal Orochimaru's soul. They've been fighting for over an hour. You can argue that this doesn't really matter because they're both fatigued, and maybe one can be more fatigued than the other and it balances out, but I believe you can argue this to be more consistency, and if you don't want to apply to this, I believe there's more consistency to push the fact that Orochimaru was holding back against Hiruzen rather than vice versa. Anyways, if you guys want to know a little bit more about who Orochimaru scales to, basically, he scales to Hiruzen. Hiruzen is actually the strongest of the 5 Kage at his current time, and that would basically mean Rasa, the 4th Raikage A, and Yagura would actually scale below Hiruzen. And you could actually argue it's consistent because we already have Orochimaru at Biju level, so he could actually fight the Three Tails being in Yagura, and not to mention Orochimaru has assassinated Rasa. So it's actually pretty consistent with the fact that he actually scales to at least the Kage, who Hiruzen scales above. But I would actually argue Orochimaru is relative to Hiruzen. If you want a more in-depth look about Hiruzen, you should probably go check out Seth's video. So then we move on to an Orochimaru who is actually weaker than the one we're talking about. But the thing is, he pulls off some crazy stuff and it makes him look really impressive. Now, just for you guys who want a little bit more context, this Orochimaru actually got his hand sealed off by Hiruzen. Hiruzen wasn't strong enough to take Orochimaru's full soul, and he basically sealed off his hand so he couldn't cast any more jutsu. And this Orochimaru is greatly damaged from that. But yeah, let's dive into Tsunade Retrieval Arc Orochimaru. Now, Orochimaru is pretty impressive in this arc. Remember, he can't use any jutsu at all, and he's just overall weaker. He fights people like Tsunade, who, even before they fight, he warns Kabuto that one punch could actually end them. And over the course of the arc, he takes multiple punches from Tsunade, and they are some pretty hard hitters. And he's still alive and fine and is able to retreat. But yeah, Orochimaru has done some crazy things with his hand sealed off. He was able to fight Jiraiya and Gamabunta with his own summoning Manda. And a lot of people don't like using this feat because people argue Jiraiya was fatigued because Tsunade drugged his drink. But really, that's not really that much of a fatigue compared to having your hand sealed off and not being able to cast jutsu. But yeah, I actually want to go back on a point I actually made about how Orochimaru is able to take Tsunade's hits multiple times. Yeah, well, this feat is impressive because Sakura, Tsunade's student, was stated by Chio to be relative to her in strength, and one punch from Sakura easily dismantled Sasori. The reason I bring this up is because a couple of subscribers, well, I don't know if they're subscribed, but a couple of members in my Discord like to say how Orochimaru's durability is ass and is comparable to Sasori in terms of durability, and Orochimaru needs regen to survive most attacks, which is somewhat true, but not to an extent of having Sasori level durability. He's able to take Tsunade's punches, who are relative to Sakura's punches, and Sakura's punches can easily dismantle Sasori. And not to mention, Orochimaru has more durability than Sasori and also has regeneration. Now, how strong is Part 1 Orochimaru? Well, he's easily Kage level, scaling to Hiruzen and the other Kage. But anyways, let's go over briefly Orochimaru in Shippuden. Reason why I say briefly is because we don't have too much to talk about, because no matter what, Part 1 Orochimaru already scales above this one, because this Orochimaru is dying. And his two strongest forms literally accomplished nothing. But anyways, let's move on to Shippuden. So, Orochimaru in Shippuden is someone not to be messed with. Even though he is weaker than his Part 1 counterpart, he is still a beast. Remember, this Orochimaru actually reacted to Four-Tail Naruto's full power attack. Not to mention, earlier in the fight before he fired his chakra gun, he was able to actually speed towards him and punch him without Four-Tail Naruto being able to react to it. Now, what's interesting about this is that Base Jiraiya, well, as far as we know, Base Jiraiya was the one who actually encountered a Naruto with the three-tailed cloak, and he actually almost killed Jiraiya. Now, whether or not you want to argue Jiraiya was just trying to steal him and he was not trying to fight him, you can argue that this Naruto is at least a threat to Jiraiya, well, Base Jiraiya, because he was still able to inflict significant damage on him. So this would actually put Orochimaru over Base Jiraiya, and this Orochimaru is basically on his deathbed. Now, Orochimaru actually does have a full powered state, but the thing is, this full powered state isn't really his full powered state, if that makes any sense. Because remember, this Orochimaru is in his full powered state, but he is sick as hell. He needs level 10 medicine and everything. He's basically, like I said earlier, on his deathbed. And this form really accomplishes nothing. He basically inflicts paralysis on Hebi Sasuke, but that's really it. Now, the next version of Orochimaru I'm going to be going over is his Hydra Snake form. Now, this is confirmed to be Orochimaru's strongest form, and it also talks about how Orochimaru is able to use regeneration abilities because of the white snakes. Now, since the Hydra form is literally just white snakes, you could just say that this form probably has insane regeneration capabilities. All we know is that this form definitely has better regen than Orochimaru, and I can't say by how much because this form didn't even do anything. Now, with that out of the way, there's only one more thing I really want to go over, and that's Orochimaru in the War Arc. Now, Orochimaru actually does have a pretty impressive feat. Now, Orochimaru is able to basically blitz Guru Yamato. Now, this Guru Yamato is able to make a statue that is capable of pushing the 5 Kage. The Raikage was actually able to react to one of its attacks, but then when the Guru statue actually attacked him again, he got sent back down. Orochimaru is able to blitz the actual Guru Yamato, which would logically scale to the statue since Guru Yamato is the one who made it. So with that, you can actually use this scaling to basically say, okay, Orochimaru is able to blitz someone who scales to the statue, which the statue is able to tag the Raikage. Now, I wouldn't use this feat personally because, again, the 5 Kage were drained. Mei states it, and also Anoki does. But I just really wanted to bring up that feat because I thought it was really cool in the manga and in the anime as well. So we can finally answer the question, how powerful is Orochimaru? Now, Orochimaru does definitely scale to Old Man Hiruzen, not reanimated Hiruzen, but Hiruzen before he died, which this Hiruzen would at least scale to Rasa, Yagura, and the Raikage, even though it says he would scale above, but I'm just saying for the bare minimum, he would scale to these characters. Orochimaru is definitely a powerhouse in the verse, and is one of the most underrated powerhouses of the verse. Now, thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate every one of you who watched this video and actually took the time to listen to me, because I know a lot of people don't like my power scaling or Naruto videos since they mostly prefer my Dragon Ball what ifs. But I thought this video would be really fun, and so I decided to make this for you guys. Besides, it's something different from what ifs, and I wanted to do something different from a what if for a while now, so I think this is a good start. If you want more power scaling videos, let me know. I'm actually intending to scale Shippuden Gaara next, so be on the lookout for that. And with that out of the way, guys, be sure to like, subscribe if you're new, and follow me on Twitter. Also, don't forget to join the Discord so you can interact with me and other creators. Anyways, with that out of the way, I'm gonna get up out of here. Peace out. Bye.